Come in.
Hi, Addie.
Hey, Jake.
Great to see you again.
Oh, it was great to see you, too.
Really enjoyed meeting you at the tailgate.
Yeah, I had a great weekend. I hope you had a good time as well.
Oh, it was fun. It's always great when the dogs are winning.
Oh, yeah.
So here's my card.
Oh, thank you. Thank you. I'll keep that for any future reference.
Awesome. And, just to recap what we talked about, we talked a little bit about, Yeti's current situation and some issues you were having with your CRM system. I think Salesforce might be a good solution for you, but I definitely want to talk some more about your situation and see if we can, find if it's a good match.
Yeah, of course.
Awesome.
Of course.
Well, before we get started, was there anyone else you wanted to join us for this meeting?
No, not this time.
Okay, no problem. And I have an agenda for us to look at right here.
Okay.
So we have 20 minutes to talk today, is that right?
Yes, yeah.
All right, perfect. So to begin, we're going to go through the intro. Just going to get to know a little bit more about Yeti, what's going on, ask you some questions about your current situation, move into a live demo, and finally we'll close things out and hopefully set up a time to continue.
Of course, let's get started.
Sounds good? Awesome. And before we get going, do you mind if I take notes during this meeting?
No, by all means. As you can see, I'm taking notes as well. So.
Awesome. Yeah, it definitely helps me out just to learn more about Yeti and your current situation. So to get things started, I'd really like to start by just asking you a few questions.
Yeah, ask away.
Awesome. So just to recap what we talked about in the game, it sounded like you were having issues with your CRM system. Could you tell me a little bit more about some of those problems?
Yeah, of course. So overall, it's an out-of-date system. We have unmanaged customer information, and because it's unmanaged, our inside and outside sales team aren't able to communicate with each other, and the data that we have is unreliable. We're not sure how accurate it is because, like I said, the up-to-date part, and we can't analyze that. We can't use it to pursue new opportunities for the company.
Definitely understand. It sounds like some of those problems could definitely affect your business. And I'd really like to know more about how you said your inside and outside sales teams can't communicate and collaborate as well. Could you expand on that?
Yeah, so they function under two different systems. In the beginning of Yeti, it worked, but we've been growing so rapidly that it's just not sustainable any longer. And we would really like both teams to be able to look at the other's information and see that who we're reaching out to and how effective we're being and our strengths and weaknesses. So it's a missed opportunity that we can't do that.
Absolutely, yeah. It's definitely important to have your different departments be able to communicate with each other and deliver better value to your customers.
Yeah.
So I've done some research before going into this meeting. I looked into how Yeti's been doing over the years, and it looks like you've been experiencing record growth in the past few years.
Yep, that's correct.
That's incredible. Yeah. Congratulations, by the way.
Oh, thank you. I certainly didn't do that on my own. But...
And I see this past year you were at $450 million in revenue. That's absolutely incredible. And based on what we talked about in your current system, I was just curious, has your current CRM system caused you any problems in all of this growth?
I'm sure it's causing some sort of problems for us. We can't analyze the data, and we can't stay updated on where we're at. So I'm sure it's impacting us.
Sure. So maybe an issue on gaining new clients or approaching new customers. I was curious. Do you think those issues in the system are stalling your relationship with your current clients?
I really haven't thought about that because the focus is always so much on growth and what new markets we can go into. But certainly our existing customers are very important. Our outside sales team likes to overcompensate for that, and any mistakes there may be, we work through that so that the customer doesn't notice.
So your outside sales team is maybe spending extra time reworking some of the process, working with the system to align with the needs of their customers. Could you expand a little bit more on how your team is compensating for those issues in the system?
Yeah, it sounds like you kind of addressed them a little bit. They're having to analyze their own data for their own clients, which is not the most efficient. And on top of that, they have to manually input data, which is crazy because it's 2017. But in doing that, it's not efficient. The whole thing's just not efficient.
So your sales teams are having to manually input some of their interactions with their customers?
Yeah, well, and orders.
And the order entries?
Yes.
Gotcha. So that definitely sounds like it could be a little bit time consuming.
Definitely. If we have large orders, certainly.
Awesome. So based on, those issues we talked about, we discussed kind of the lack of communication between, your two sales teams, and then the extra time it's taking to enter that data. I was curious if your current system is maybe putting a barrier between the relationship between your sales reps and your clients. I did some more data research on Yeti, and I saw that one of your core values is creating an excellent customer experience. So based on those issues, do you think they're getting in the way of creating that customer experience?
I would like to say no, but they certainly are to a certain degree. Of course, thanks for noticing that we like to pride ourselves on the amazing customer experience. But of course, if we're not being the most efficient, we can't provide the best service to our customers. And at some point, we're letting them down.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely. And that, it is so important to maintain those customer relationships. It's definitely something we stress here at Salesforce too.
Mm-hmm.
I was just curious, you said it's creating, a less than perfect experience for those customers. What do you think is going to happen in the long term? As Yeti continues to grow, you're going to have more orders, more clients. It's going to be harder to manage all of their information and maintain those clients with your current system. What negative effects do you think you could have in the long term?
Negative effects. I would like to say none, but of course that's not the way the world works. And I think certainly there could be some clients that would leave.
Mm-hmm.
They would go to a competitor. They would find someone who's doing a better job than what we're doing, which I never want to see.
Mm-hmm.
And if we don't have clients that are leaving, they might be ordering less. They might not have as large of orders, or might not have as much reoccurring orders,
mm-hmm.
which could obviously slow down our production.
Absolutely. So, it looks like there may need to be a solution there to, help maintain those client relationships and continue your core values.
Yeah.
So we also talked about, those manual entries.
Mm-hmm.
I was just curious, does that, lead into any kind of issue in your production capabilities for having your sales reps having to, constantly manually enter some of those orders?
Certainly. In manual entry, sometimes there's a disconnect.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe an order gets lost,
mm-hmm.
or it's a little out of date. It was supposed to be sent last week, and now it's just now being sent. Although that's not often, the fact that it's happening is upsetting me.
Mm-hmm.
I feel that it's important, but there's obviously some people in the company who aren't seeing the value in that yet.
Mm-hmm.
But I believe in the long run, it would impact us negatively.
Gotcha. So, it seems like a problem now. You guys are working around it, but, it is persisting and,
mm-hmm.
may have to be dealt with at some point.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. And, losing those orders and having late deliveries, that sounds like, that could be a possible barrier to growth, because you are growing so fast.
We are.
And, I have some research on your future projected growth, and we also talked about the issue with the data. You have all this client data, but you haven't
mm-hmm.
been really able to utilize it or analyze it. Looking forward, do you think that may stall your growth in the future?
I would hope not, but it is a very big problem. There will possibly come a point where we just don't naturally grow, and we're going to have to look to our markets and look to our data and see where's our areas of strength and areas
mm-hmm.
of weakness. And I know that day is coming. And so I think it's important that we have that data available, because we may be doing well now, but I want us to be doing better. I want us to improve even more than what we thought we could improve.
Absolutely. And, I think that drive and ambition is really what's made Yeti so valuable today.
Yeah.
And going back onto those growth trends, so I did a lot of research, and what I have here is that you're on track to grow by 20% in the next 5 years,
mm-hmm.
which is always great. Continuous growth is always important. If you could utilize that data we just mentioned
mm-hmm.
to expand your business, provide new market insights, do you think that would change your track for growth? We have 20% in 5 years, but do you think we could increase that?
Yeah, I think the only way we can go is
mm-hmm.
increasing it. It wouldn't hurt.
Yeah.
Like the question before, we're doing good, but we could be doing better. So if we could utilize that data, I would say we could grow 10%
mm-hmm.
in addition to that 20%. So
Gotcha.
there would be a marginal increase of
mm-hmm.
10%.
So that 10% increase in the annual revenue, you were at $450 million this past year, correct?
Correct. Yeah.
And
correct.
so 10%, that would be giving you an extra $4.5 million in annual revenue.
Yeah, give or take, and that's really substantial for us either way.
Absolutely, that would definitely be a huge increase in your growth, and you could definitely streamline your processes a lot better.
Mm-hmm.
I was also curious about that. Let's go back to the manual entry. I'm glad that we were able to take a look at how we could improve your growth. The extra 10%. But that manual entry is definitely still a serious issue, the
Yeah.
entry of the order processing. I was just curious, because this is a problem that many of our clients experience, is their sales reps out in the field
Really?
having to, they have to take extra time and do manual entry. And so that's something we've tried to address with Salesforce. And I really wanted to ask you today, if you had to put, an hourly number of how many hours a week your outside sales team is taking to input their orders, what would that be?
That's I'm gonna have to think on that real quick, but I would say on average around 20 hours.
So probably
20 hours.
20 hours a week they're spending just doing manual order entry into the system.
Yeah, I know they mostly do that in the afternoon. They go out to their clients in the mornings and they do all their pitches and their orders, and usually that orders happen in the afternoon. So.
Gotcha. Well, I also brought with us some of our clients' data, some of their successes and results from using Salesforce. And we did have a client that they've been using Salesforce for 18 months, and they were having a similar issue. Their sales team was wasting time with manual data entry. And so we've completely eliminated that part of their process, and that client was able to gain 30 more hours a week for their Salesforce team from not having to do manual entry.
That is really impressive. That's so much added time.
What do you think could be some of the benefits of your sales teams gaining, that 20 hours back every week?
I think, we invest so much training in our sales teams, and especially that outside sales team. We truly believe that we have given them the tools to go and succeed. And one of, obviously, the barriers is that time. They're doing a great job with what they're given, and they're trying their best. But if we could give time back to them, then I know they would take and they would exceed, and they could get more orders.
Sure thing. So having that time back, they would be able to spend more time with clients and ideally generate more orders. Do you think there could be a percentage increase that you could think of if we gave them that 20 hours back a week?
I'd have to say somewhere along the lines of that growth, probably around 10%.
So another 10% of the order.
Yeah, nothing too substantial, but I know for a fact that every salesperson's goal is to best serve our customer, and if that can be increase the orders and be more efficient, then they would wholeheartedly do it.
Absolutely, yeah. I think the real benefit would be letting those salespeople do what they do best, work on their client relationships and get more orders in.
And I would agree.
Great. Well, I've really enjoyed our conversation, getting to know Yeti, getting to know your current system. And, I think you guys may be an ideal candidate for Salesforce. Some of the things that we could possibly do for you would be to, help you streamline your growth, connect to your two sales teams better, and, give your outside sales team more time to work with their clients. So, if we were able to address those three concerns, do you think you'd be interested in proceeding for a demo and show you what Salesforce can really do?
Of course. If you can solve any of those issues, I would love the opportunity just to even hear what Salesforce has to offer.
All right, fantastic. Well, don't worry. I got it right here. I'm going to come over there, and we're going to work together, and I'm going to let you, do most of the button pressing and really get to see Salesforce in action.
Okay.
Awesome.
All right, just tell me what to do.
Sure thing. Get you all queued up. Okay, so this is what you're looking at is a basic dashboard for Salesforce.
All right.
And I produced this view to begin with because this is the same view that your inside sales team is going to be able to see as well as your outside sales team.
Okay.
And so if you take a look at that drop-down menu right there.
Yes.
There we go. So that's stored client information.
Okay.
And that information is going to be accessible on two ways. The inside sales team will be able to view it as well as the outside sales team.
Okay,
and
that's great.
The real amazing feature of it is that it's going to be real-time data. And that real-time data is going to translate into better relationships for your outside sales team and inside sales team out in the field.
That's great.
So, for instance, I think like a great example would be, your inside sales team has a touch with one of your clients, and your outside sales team is, making a delivery or, reconnecting, and they could see that real-time touch and know, oh, they communicate with an inside sales rep. I have that background information, and I'm able to create a better relationship with that client now.
That is good. I'm glad they have that.
Awesome. And I remember that other issue we talked about was utilizing your valuable data. You said that there was so much data that you guys just didn't have access to before. And so something Salesforce has implemented are sales tracking trends. And so if you click right there, so that valuable sales information, it's going to pull that data automatically, and it's going to turn it into trends. So you can easily view these market trends, see what people are buying, and see what products are on the rise. And so the benefit of that feature is that you're going to be able to continuously grow. This is really going to streamline your growth because you're going to have better market insight ultimately. And the last thing we really needed to focus on was your manual entry. We talked about, you said you were losing 20 hours a week. So that was, a super unproductive use of your time. And so what we've done is, based on Salesforce, you click right there. That's going to allow your sales team to have automatic order processing. So after they conclude a sales call or a sales meeting, this is an automatic process, and they won't have to sit here and manually enter it every day, like you said, in the afternoons.
That's great.
So the benefit of that is that you're going to save your team 20 hours a week. They'll be able to communicate better with your clients and spend more time on building relationships, gaining orders, and growing their business.
That is great. That's good. That's good. Thank you so much for that.
Yeah, absolutely. Is there anything else you want to see here on Salesforce?
I don't think so. I think you really touched on everything that's most important to Yeti.
Okay, well, awesome. Well, we'll close things up in a sec. I'll go back to the other side, and we'll conclude the meeting.
All right.
Awesome.
Just a quick question. Everything that you've said has been really great. I am a little concerned with price. I just want to make sure that the costs aren't too high for what Yeti can sustain.
Yeah, no problem. I had held off on talking about costs up to this point because I really did want to show you the loss and building the value of what Salesforce could help you do with your team. So yeah, let's talk about cost. So right here, let's take a look. We're just going to build a little value equation and see, what negative impacts you were having on your business. So we talked about the loss in growth. So we've made that prediction you could gain that 10% growth if we get better utilize your data. And so that was going to translate into $4.5 million increase in annual revenue. We also talked about the added efficiency and better customer relationships that you could gain from streamlining the communications between inside and outside sales teams. So we have that added efficiency and better alignment with your core values, you would say, right?
Of course.
Core values. And lastly, we were losing 20 hours a week. So that was such valuable time you could translate into more sales growth. So all of those things are what really hangs on the table here in a future with your current CRM system, and not with Salesforce. So let's talk about the cost of Salesforce. So the current cost model is $2,500 per user, and I have you estimated at 100 users that would be needing to access Salesforce. And
between our inside and outside.
Inside and outside sales. So that's going to come out to $250,000 overall for the Salesforce package and have those 100 users. And I understand that is a big cost, and you always have a lot of different factors to consider when switching over to a different system. But I think if we take a look at, all of those things we were losing in your current business model versus the cost of Salesforce, I think it's a clear indication that, the future of Yeti is going to be very bright and much more efficient by using Salesforce.
Okay. Well, thank you for going over that with me.
Sure thing. So I just was kind of wondering, where do you think you are in this process? Do you think that Salesforce could be a good use for your company?
I really enjoyed the meeting that we've had today, and you brought some really good points and really good benefits to the issues that Yeti's facing. But there are other decision makers that I need to include because although I see the value in this, I want to convey that to them, and especially I want you to convey that to them. So I would love to include them.
Absolutely. Well, you know what? Let's set a time to reconnect. How does next week sound?
I think next week, somewhere around lunchtime would probably be when we're all most available. Maybe we can make it a lunch meeting.
How does Wednesday sound?
Yep, tentative Wednesday.
Awesome. Wednesday lunch, 12:30?
Yes, I'm okay with that.
Okay, perfect. Well, you talk to your people, and I will be there, and I'm really excited to continue this conversation about Salesforce and Yeti.
Of course. Thank you so much.
It was so nice to meet you, Yeti.
Yeah, thanks for taking the time.
Thanks for having me today.
All right, have a good rest of your day.
Thank you, you too.